What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Church and State. We're going to be talking about Canada today, part two of Truckers Over Tyranny. So let's get it. I want to give you guys a quick update on what's happening in Canada. Some crazy stuff. So, as you know, the truckers are still there. The farmers are there now. Tons of civilians. Well, the government is finally showing their true colors. They're showing their hand. They have put riot police in there. They are robbing truckers of their extra fuel at gunpoint. The police are robbing truckers at gunpoint in Canada. They are taking their extra fuel so that it stops their ability to start their truck, which stops their ability to stay warm. This is a war tactic. The government is also buying up all the vacant hotel areas. And so if you go online, it says they're closed, but if you actually go into the hotel, they're wide open. As I'm talking, I'll put some of these on the screen for you guys. This is crazy. Rather than talking to the Freedom Convoy, they would rather stop this by force. Send in police, send in dogs, steal their fuel, buy up all the hotels so they can't keep warm. One of the things the Canadian government also did is they made honking illegal now. Can I get a honk? Why are we talking about Canada? You know, Canada's very interesting because they actually have a constitution, but it's not the same constitution we have. In the second part of their constitution, they have their rights: freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom, all that kind of stuff, right? Good stuff. However, in the first part of their constitution, it says that the government can basically usurp those rights whenever they want, which is what we see happening right now. And so they don't have any guaranteed freedoms. They don't have what we have. And that's why these policemen are going in. I bring this up because it highlights a couple things. It highlights a tyrannical government. It also highlights people who love liberty and the differences between those. 2 Corinthians 3:17 says, "Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's liberty." This is what our founders desired. In fact, on the Liberty Bell, well, you can see the crack in it right here. I have a little replica. There's actually a verse from Leviticus that talks about liberty. "Proclaim liberty throughout all the land and to all the inhabitants thereof." Our founders said this idea of liberty is bathed in the worth of the individual, in the dignity of the individual. That one group of people is not more important than another group of people. That just because maybe you're in government, our representative, that you do not have more worth. You are not more important than the person who is of lower class in society. This is why in the Declaration of Independence, it says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." The reason why we have the Constitution we have today is because our founders recognized the dignity and the worth of each human being, born and unborn, that is created in the image of God, and that no government has the right to dehumanize anyone and take away that dignity and those human rights that are given to us by God. Our Bill of Rights does not give us those freedoms. The Bill of Rights recognizes those freedoms are given to us by God, and therefore government can never take them away. Now, in reference to Canada, how does this relate to church and state? Well, throughout history, mankind wants to put themselves in the place of God. And we see this with government. You look at North Korea, you look at China. What happens when the communists took power? They got rid of the church, and they said, you have to only worship at state-sanctioned churches. Churches that worship the one true living God, we got rid of those. We put them in jail. We want to be God. We want to be worshiped. You do anything else that besides what we tell you, there's going to be punishment. Oh, hey, real quick, if you would like to support this content, the videos that we do, the articles, and the website, everything that we're doing with Red Liberty Media, help us grow. Become a Patreon subscriber today. The link right here will help you do that. Just click that, and it will also be in the description box below this video. Anyways, back to our scheduled program. But what did our founders think? I'm glad you asked. Samuel Adams, no, not the beer, the actual guy, said this in 1772. He wrote an article called "The Rights of Colonists as Men." This is what he says in response to Great Britain taking away their liberties. "The legislative has no right to absolute arbitrary power over the lives and fortunes of the people, nor can mortals assume a prerogative not only too high for men, but for angels, and therefore reserved for deity alone. Basically, he's saying no one person should have absolute power. That power is reserved for deity alone. And this is where we get the connection between church and state. When government tries to put themselves in the place of God, evil tyrannical dictators will use security and the lure of security to take away the freedoms of people, and therefore resulting in the enslavement of those people that they are over. Now, what about the stealing of property? This is really good. Listen to what he says here. Now, what liberty can there be when property is taken away without consent? If someone can just take away your property without any punishment whatsoever, any penalties like the Canadian government is doing to these truckers, what kind of liberty do you have? You don't have any liberty whatsoever. Samuel Adams says there should be one rule of justice for rich and poor, for the favorite at the court and the countryman at the plow. And this is why our founders wanted to base our Constitution on the Bible and the Judeo-Christian values. That law, that moral law that we have is great, but they said there's a law above that law, which is God's law. And when governments fail to act according to God's law, we have the right and duty to say no to the bullies. God's law is higher than anything. And he says that law should guide us and put guardrails in place for society so that whether you're a politician or whether you're a construction worker, whether you're a salesman or whether you're the president of the United States, everybody is under that law because all men are created equal. No one gets a special pass. And this is what's so great about America. So what can you do with Canada? 1, boycott GoFundMe. Use Give, Send, Go or some other charity. GoFundMe, I'm not even going to get started on them. Pray for Canada. All the reels that you see on social media, everything that you see, send to people. Send to your friends. Post on your social media. People need to get the word out. Canada's fighting for their lives. They're fighting for their grandchildren, for their future. And we need to stand with them because we stand for the truth and they're standing in the truth as well. And if I may make a quick plug, if you're not reading stuff from the Founding Fathers, you're missing out on some good nuggets. You need to read some of this stuff. They are national treasures. You need to read what they wrote because it'll give you a lens, the right lens to look through to see events today about what's happening. And it'll give you some timeless wisdom and eternal truths that point back to God as well. With that, God bless you all, and I'll see you next time on Church and State. My name is Timothy Johnson for Red Liberty Media.
Nothing but the blood of Jesus. Oh, precious is the flow that makes me white as snow. No other fount I know. Nothing but the blood of